Hey everyone, welcome back to another Whisper update video. This is a bit different because normally it's Ben introing it, isn't it, Ben? But we've got slightly a new format here. It's still going to be a question and answer thing. I'm joined by Matt as well, and we're going to be talking about the latest Whisper update that we've pushed through. I'm going to load up my screen and share what we have, and I'm also going to then ask some questions alternating between Matt and Ben, talking about what we've added, why we've added it, and just genuinely demo our thinking that has come with this latest update. So, how are you guys? All good?
Yeah, really good, really good. How are you, Ben?
I'm great, mate. I'm top of the world.
Ben's normally used to the one doing this intro, so it's a new format. It's a new format. Can you guys see my screen?
Indeed, yes, absolutely. Well, we can.
The very first thing that we added this week, and it's a customization thing, and I won't talk too much about it, but if you go into the settings of Whisper, we now have the ability to add custom icons. So you as the user can choose it. And it might seem like a small thing, so I'll go to you, Ben, first. Why do you think this gives users that kind of personalization? Why does that matter, and how does it help people connect with Whisper as an app?
Well, it's really a simple answer. Well, it's cool. What more do you need? That's it. No, actually, before I answer the question properly, I want to know what everyone's icons, what your customization icons you've picked. Which ones?
I think, well, you saw me open up my app. This is running on my actual iPhone. I love the green one. It's the one I asked for when this was being rolled out. I immediately changed it to that.
How about you, Spence?
Oh, I had to go for the blue and pink, and then I'm changing it probably every other day, actually. Just to freshen it up.
I've gone for is it orangey pink one at the bottom?
This one?
And that's because my son liked it, so we went for that one. So, that was my colour of choice. So just answer the question really, Will. It's all about customization, all about personalization. And I know it may seem trivial, and in reality, it is a little bit trivial, isn't it? To the broader, picture and the broader aim and ambitions and making this a personal operating system for the individual. So, but what it does, it demonstrates really, as indeed our other customization features where you can customize the background of your chats, is we're trying to make this, and this is just a little sign, a little direction, a little signpost of where we're pushing with this app. And it's all about customization. It's all about personalization. It's all about making Whisper yours. And Whisper is yours. You're not, renting it from us. You're not paying a monthly subscription to rent it, and then suddenly you turn off your subscription and you don't have access to it. You're buying Whisper as a tool, as a product, as a piece of software, like old school software. You buy it and it's yours, and it's really about just giving the users those personalization elements and features that make it feel theirs. But equally, we know that's the direction we want to take Whisper overall as a operating system for individual intelligence. So whether that's eventually we're talking about having files and things like that. So again, personalization will be private, secure, a knowledge bank of the individual. So, an individual can upload everything that they possibly want to about themselves in a private, safe environment. And that AI, Whisper, will be able to know everything about you, but in a private, secure way. And it makes it ultimately, that's the ultimate bespokeness, customization. So this is really what's signaling. And just quickly on the icons, just to say, we've got ideas about, making the customization better, maybe, like we've done with the background chats. You could add grey and you could add different images. So we may look at, adding different, adjusting colors and things like that, yourself, so you can really fine tune it. So that's it, really. That's what I'm excited. It's always nice to see a nice little visual, tangible feature. So that's exciting. I'm sorry, I'm bleating on too long. I'm just looking at this.
No, that's really cool. It's really cool, and it's really interesting to talk about. It's not all necessarily about the AI itself, but also what it can do and how the user can deeply customize, their experience, even if it is something trivial like app icons. Let's move along, and I'll reshare my screen again with the app, and we'll move on to the next thing that we added. And this is going to be much more angled around Matt, because this is something that he worked on this week, and it is the new model that we brought in. It's very small on the screen, so I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it at home on the screen, but we added a new AI model, LFM 2.5 to 1.2 billion parameter model. Matt, maybe you could talk a little bit about what's changed, what that actually means, in a semi-technical sense as well, whilst keeping it easy for people to listen to and understand what has changed with the model this week.
Of course. Yeah, it's quite small to be fair, but the significant changes we were using up until last week, like local model trained by the Meta team, so Facebook, and that's done quite well for us for the last couple of months, but now there are runtime, so the very engine in our app that allows us to run a AI on your phone. It has had some updates architecturally, and it allows us to actually look at some more modern style LLMs or SLMs. That's probably what we should say. But the new model offers us a lot more power for the exact same footprint that the previous model had. And I think, quite honestly, the improvements we've seen are already quite dramatic. And we've selected a model that is effectively the same size, so it uses the same amount of resource on your mobile phone. But the quality, I think, is already noticeable. However, we want to start being able to talk in a more tracked way about the improvements we make with our intelligence on the app. So over the next coming weeks, we're going to be looking at benchmarking the improvements too. So as a team, we've collectively noticed the significant improvements with this new update for the AI, but we can't really articulate, is it a 20% improvement, a 30%? So we kind of want to be able to start doing that too. But anyway, the short of it is we've got a significantly better model in place, and it has led us to now start thinking about what else can we do to offer that value to smaller and smaller phones.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. One of the really interesting things on this new model set is that obviously we've opted for the 1.2 billion parameter model, which is really small. But is it right that there's actually two smaller sizes, again, that we could look to ship as well? Because one of the eternal battles with Whisper is supporting the lowest end hardware that we can and giving people equally good experiences no matter the phone that they're on. And one of the things that I found quite interesting is the different sizes of models. So is that something we could also look to ship?
Well, this is it. We need to test it first. Obviously, we're all, as a team, we're really hoping that we can. The more Android phones we can support, the better. We currently block, I think last time I checked, it was about 5,000, it might be 10,000 Android devices in the market, total of 50,000 available on Google Play. If we could just support them, that is significantly better. But I think we are playing this really important game of offering enough quality to even the small app users, as well as making sure that it's usable. So we've got to go and find out, see if those smaller models are actually usable in a viable way that your average Joe is going to find beneficial.
Interesting.
Just to quickly jump in there, guys, and just for the audiences, just to make them aware, is everyone's Whisper experience could be potentially different, and that's the key point, and that's one of the challenges we face. So one user might have a really bad experience with Whisper, and one user might have an amazing experience with Whisper because the person with a better hardware is able to support a better model, and that's the conundrum we're fighting at the moment. But we're working on it.
Well, that leads us to the thing that we haven't added, but it is something that is an ongoing research point of this week, and will go on into follow-up weeks. And that is, we're looking into something called fine-tuning, which some of you may know what that is. Some of you may not know what that is, but that is the ability to improve models at certain tasks. And we're doing a whole bunch of research on that. And I'll go to Matt first because he can explain a little bit more behind the technical thinking, as well as how that actually is tangibly improving the app or will improve the app. And then I'll go to Ben and ask a little bit more of a communications question. But when we're talking about fine-tuning a model, why is this a certain priority for us based on what Ben just said? And could you talk a little bit about what that will unlock for Whisper app users, just us in general as a tech team, and everything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think one of the nice ways to boil down the improvements Fine-Tune offers is thinking about, you have this one AI model running on your phone, and at the moment it's going to be LFM 2.5. And we do have this ability with fine-tuning to orchestrate its attention more and more closely to a certain task. So it might be that you want it to always kind of answer with a certain cadence. Maybe you want to have it always focus in a general Q&A approach, and that's where fine-tuning can guide it. It's not a one-size-fits-all, and it's very easy to actually overdo fine-tuning or to underdo it and not actually get any noticeable difference. But the sort of research that we did this week, and I know you were a big part of that research, Will, it was quite clearly about seeing how and what benefits could we bring by fine-tuning a really small model for really small phones, just to at least keep the model a bit more articulated for what the average user might ask. And our findings are still ongoing. It might be that we take those learnings and take a different direction, but ultimately the question was there and we needed to find out. But
what it's
that's
all,
the kind of
yeah, so what it's all about really is doing our best to improve base models and get them really good at certain tasks in order to support smaller models. Would we spin up multiple small models? You know, one that's really good at this task and then one that's really good at this task. So we can have loads of tiny models so, you know, that lower end hardware can support that. How would that work roughly? I know it's obviously a big topic.
It depends on the size of your phone. I think for smaller phones, we're realistically going to be limiting to one. For medium-sized phones, we can then start to consider a better architecture where you might have a model to analyze the question or the point in the conversation and then route it to a better suited model that we can spin up on the phone. And then for much larger phones, we can actually consider having dual AIs running, which won't always be utilized, but when the user asks quite a difficult task, it will have the ability to run multiple instances at the same time and do a bit of a deeper job. So it really is that our design's going to dynamically change based off of the hardware that you've got available. And I think Ben quite nicely put it earlier that everyone's experience is going to be different to what your phone can support. But we're doing our best to try and alleviate the differences where we can.
No, it's very interesting. One of the big challenges that we have at Whisper, among many of the challenges, is we have to go into this sort of tandem development mode where we're trying to ship things actively and, you know, keep updates coming, keep the community informed. But we're at the cutting edge of this technology. We have to go into these long research cycles. We have to work on long horizon tasks where we might not have anything visual to show. I mean, we've done a lot of research, but I'm not sharing my screen. We haven't got anything really to show other than some written up reports on this. What's the challenge, Ben, with how because you're one that's pioneering the communication behind Whisper. How do we balance that? How do we talk to users? Do we tease what's coming and talk more about, you know, like we have here with the fine tuning, especially because it's very technical? Or do we just keep focusing on what's shipping today? You know, how do we communicate what is essentially a very technical topic to users, you know, that might even just be getting started with their AI journey?
Yeah, well, it's a really interesting sort of point, really. And the honest answer is I think we're going to have to sort of maybe experiment and see how things shape, because I'm always hesitant to talk about things that aren't ready to ship and are going to take a long time, because it's almost like you can build up your community and, you know, and position it potentially not intentionally but in the wrong way within expectations, and you don't want to let people down. You don't want to give false promises and nothing ever ships. So I think the attention should certainly be on what we are shipping, but I think we've got to think about how we can build in the narrative of what we're working on and the future direction. And that may be coming through, you know, podcasts, you know, when we're looking at the benchmarks, when we've got those, maybe that may play a role because it's more of a visual representation of what's happening, where we're headed. So I think it's an ongoing, I guess, thought we need to have is how do we keep that communication of where our future direction's going and what we're planning to do and how that's progressing in an interesting way, because you can talk to the, you know, cows come home, but ultimately it's like, well, you know, let me see the meat on the bone type thing. You know, where is it? It's easy to talk about all these things. So I think as we grow, as we progress as a team, you know, we'll be able to ship, you know, faster and more dynamically. You know, we've got open source, so we're actively inviting contributors. I think the acceleration curve will increase, which will make, I guess, it easier to talk about these longer term horizon projects that we're working on, because we'll be able to hopefully ship them faster. So I think it's something we need to consider in a bit more detail, but I'm a little bit hesitant to talk too much about too many long horizon things until we know they're in the bag. We know where we're about to actually execute. So that's really where I'm sort of thinking at the moment.
No, absolutely. And I think that is a good summary of the update. We've done a lot. We've done some long horizon tasks this week. We've shipped some new features to the app. So hopefully this week is a good balance of the both. But I think we'll call it there. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that Whisper update video. We're going to be trying this new format. Let us know what you think down in the comments. And other than that, don't forget to like and subscribe. And thanks, Ben. Thanks, Matt. And we'll catch you in the next video. Cheers, guys.